Hey, what's up, everybody? It was all a dream with the Oz Squad,
What's going on, everybody? Dana George here, Legacy Planner 83.
and I'm the Salty Lit Coach, aka your favorite coach, aka the podcast poppy, aka Matthew Javier Donahue, and we have a special episode today entitled "Your Future Self." Now, DJ, can you tell us how you came across this concept of your future self?
All right, so I was actually scrolling through Facebook like everyone else does. One of my Facebook friends, he's a good guy. He's a realtor. We met a few months ago. Awesome dude. So if you guys are looking for a house, reach out to Jeff Archer. He actually posted. I don't know how he got introduced to it, but I saw that he posted about the book by Benjamin Hardy. Be Your Future Self Now. And just the title alone had grabbed me. I didn't read it right away. I did buy the book. I just started reading it like the other night. I'm on like the 10th page because I wanted to finish the book that I was on. I didn't want to just jump to another book. But in the very beginning of just reading it, like it was crazy. Be your future self now. So like a lot of people think it's like, all right, in 5 years I want to do X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z.
Mm-hmm.
But this goes a little bit more in depth than that. To whereas like if you want to be somewhere next week or in 6 months or this and that, like be there right now and think about the present that you're in right now as the past. And I was like, what does that actually mean? So just to give you a good example, I was talking to Matt earlier today. So I started reading a book a couple days ago. So last night I could have gotten gas. I didn't get gas.
Yep.
Today I was on an appointment and I got lost, and there was a detour, which a detour is not planned because it doesn't say it on GPS. I almost ran out of gas. So the person at that moment was like, F. Like, this is crazy. All I had to do was last night was get gas. So if I would have just took that concept of be my future self at that point, I would have went ahead and just got the gas I needed. Now that's just very a minute thing, but it just makes you really think about like 5 years ago, you said you would be in a place 5 years like right now, but you could just say it. But like if you position yourself in that position right now, you're gonna work a lot harder to get it.
Mm.
And it's actually helped me a little bit more with my visualization on that aspect. The past couple of days is like, all right, I know what I want to do. I want blah 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 blah. But I was like, all right, what if you said that you're that right now? Because now you're actually going to work in that mode to get in that position, like right now. And another example they gave in a book, excuse me, I thought it was like simply amazing. You're a father. I'm a father. You work. I work. We have other things going on in life. Then you get home, you might be like a little exhausted. So I just want to go to bed. I just want to relax. But then when you go home, like kids have a lot more energy than we do.
Yep.
Right? And your son is 9, my kids are 10, 5, and 10, 5, and 3. He's like, oh man, I gotta go home. This and that, third. And he's like, ah. But then they said that think about 20 years from now. That puts me at 60. Kids will probably be moved out of the house. At the age of 60, I would love to be back in that position at the age of 40.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, that's crazy. So if I live that moment now at the age of 60, I would enjoy that moment at the age of 40 with your time with the kids because later on you're going to wish you had done it.
Yeah.
So like it was just think about that, like made me tear up when I was reading it because it was like we take advantage of the things that we can become and we take advantage of the things that are happening right now because we just want to put things off to like tomorrow or I can get to it and stuff like that.
Yeah, I love those two examples. I think the one with the kids is something like I've always consciously been aware of that. I've always been like, I'll do whatever Mason wants to do, pretty like to a certain extent, obviously.
I get it.
You know what I'm saying? Because I've always had the idea like one day he's not gonna want to do these things with me.
Right.
One day he's gonna be out on his own. But I never tied that into the idea of my future self.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's pretty cool. You made that connection, and with the car, I think that's like the biggest lie I tell myself, like once a week. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm coming home, I've been at work all day, then whatever happens, and Mason has practice. I'm getting home like 8, 9 o'clock at night after waking up at 4:15. I'm like, you know what? I'm so tired. I'm just gonna wake up 5 minutes early tomorrow and get gas. You know what I'm saying? And that's a lie I tell myself consistently. And every time I say it, I'm like, I know I've lied to myself before, but tomorrow's gonna be different. and tomorrow's never different, bro. So you're right. You're tired tonight, but think about, be considerate of your
Right.
future self.
And
What you need tomorrow morning.
if I would have just did it, and I'm not gonna lie, I was panicking. And the reason why I was panicking is because I was on the North Shore and I don't have much cell service on the North Shore. And I was like, yo, I don't know what I'm going to do. It's like, I'm going to either be late to the appointment or when I'm done with the appointment, I'm going to have to figure out how to get back to civilization.
Yep.
I was in the Oyster Bay area. And another thing to think about what he went over is like, you know, to think of yourself as like three different aspects of yourself. It was like, part of you is like I want to go to the gym, so I'm going to wake up early and go to the gym. That's your one part of you, and then there's the other part of you that's like the nighttime part of you. Yo, I want to binge on Netflix. So then now when it's time to wake up, that morning you was like, yo, the night me really screwed me over.
Yeah.
I should have just went to bed. I
Yep.
should have just went to bed. So then now the morning you doesn't get to go to the gym. You go to work cranky. So the midday you is mad at the morning you because you didn't get enough sleep.
Yep.
And then it's just a whole cycle. So like if you just put yourself into like those different segments and be a little bit more I don't know if the word would be strict or regiment or have a little more discipline. Like I think it would just make things a lot more
Yeah.
smoother. And it's like I was thinking about that too. It was like, oh man, I would love to watch this Netflix, but I wanted to get up and run in the morning. So unfortunately I did watch Netflix. I didn't get to run as early as I wanted to, but I still got it in. But it was just like, but then I was saying to myself, I was like, why didn't I just go to bed? Why didn't I just turn it off? I could have watched Netflix another time. So things like that to where the sayings like I'll put it off tomorrow it's like a legitimate thing. Tomorrow really never comes.
Yeah. There's always going to be tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think something you said, about working out, I think is a perfect example to do, kind of like an example of the future you, right?
Mhm.
Like the future you wants to have, I'm not saying you specifically, but let's say, for example, you want a six pack. You want to have like 10% body fat,
Right.
right? In the moment, somebody could bring cupcakes right now. I'm like, yo, those cupcakes looking really good right now. You know what I'm saying? But I want to think about my future self. My future self wants to have the six pack.
Right.
My future self wants to be under 10% body fat. So I'm not going to eat, these donuts or these munchkins or whatever's in front of me because I'm being considerate of the person I want to be. Right. And just to give you like to go back to the gas example, if I were to borrow your car, DJ, right? And I know I'm bringing it back late at night and I notice, the car's pretty much on empty. Even though I use it for like 10 minutes, right? Like I'm not the one, you waste all your own gas. You know what I'm saying? But in my mind, I'll be like, you know what? Like I'm gonna put like $10 in the tank or something, just so DJ can get to work and get home. So I would be considerate of you, but for myself, I'll just wake up 5 minutes early and figure it out. You know what I'm saying? So when you start thinking of your future self as somebody different, as somebody else from yourself, then you can start being more considerate,
And that was actually funny that you said that because as I was reading the book and I closed it up and I was like thinking, I was like, how can you elevate that and how can you be more considerate to yourself? And I was like, most people, because I'm a parent, I know mostly parents is like, these are for the good parents out there, but you wouldn't do certain things to your kid. Like you probably wouldn't, hopefully you don't whoop the kids, even though you might want to, you wouldn't yell or whatever the case may be. But like if you treated your future self, because you want your kid, the reason why you wouldn't do certain things is because you want your kid to grow up in a certain manner. So something that you could do is think about your future self as like the version of yourself now, that you want to be, and think of yourself as that child. Think of yourself as that child now. It's like, all right, I want to do the right thing so I could reach to that certain goal. So that's how I was like thinking certain things is like how if I want to be a certain spot, would I degrade myself or say I couldn't make it or this and a third? No, I was like, for your kid, it's like, oh, I can't do it. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. And I think we lose that and we don't take care of ourselves in that manner as well. So what I actually did, and I'll put it out there now, is that I actually made a video and postponed it 6 months that it's going to air no matter what. Like I cannot
stop it.
I can't stop. I mean, technically I can stop it, but I will not stop it. I will not stop it. 6 months and 12 months of goals that I wanted to achieve. And it's going to post in 6 months from now. So when people see it, they can be like, oh, you said that you were gonna do it. Like, did you do it? So now it put me in a position like, I gotta make sure I take care of
Yeah.
myself and do the right thing because in 6 months, which 6 months, oh, that's 6 months from now. But no, we already know that 6 months is like right around the corner. Even a year is right around the corner. And for you to get somewhere, like you have to dig down now because depending on what you want to do, it could be a 30 to 60, 90 day lag. So like to do something like that, I was scared to do it, to even talk about it. And then I was actually scared to put it on there that I was like, all right, in 6 months this is gonna go. I'm not allowed to change it. So if someone watches it and I didn't do it, then it's on me.
Yeah.
Then it's on me.
Okay.
So right now, I pictured what I didn't say it in the video, but I pictured where I was gonna be at that 6 month mark. And I was like, all right, but I want to live it right now. Oh, this is what it feels like. This is what it looks like. All right, cool. This is what I got to do to get there.
All right. I like that.
Yeah, I know. I like it too.
Yeah. And I believe you're going to get it done.
Oh, no, it's done. I put it on the video.
No,
It's
I
done.
believe whatever goals you set
Yeah,
for
yeah.
that video are going to get done.
It is.
in
It will.
6
It's
months.
done because
It's
I put it out there. I legitimately put it out there, so that means it's done.
Like Nas said, it was written, right?
It was written.
It was written.
It
My
was
man,
video. Yeah.
Mac Tubb and The Alchemist, man.
Yeah.
That's what's up. So just to kind of stay on the same topic, I read this interesting article about Matthew McConaughey. You know Matthew McConaughey, right? The Lincoln lawyer or whatever,
Does Lincoln commercials actually?
He does Lincoln commercials. And, he's like the king of rom-com back in the day. Man,
Yeah.
Matthew McConaughey was my dude. But when he was 15, somebody had asked him, who's your hero? And he said, my hero is myself in 10 years. Right? So he's 25. So at 15, he was already referring to him like 25-year-old self as his hero. So when he was 25, the same person who interviewed him happened to, I don't know if it was like planned or how it came about, but the same person had asked him again, so are you your own hero now? And it's like, nah, my 35-year-old self is my own hero. You know what I'm saying? Then at 35, they asked him, and he's like, my hero is always going to be myself in 10 years. That's always going to be. And I thought that was such like a cool thing because it's like, he has like this mindset where he's always going to grow. Kind of like what you said, he has his goals kind of put out there and they're going to be hit no matter what. So this person who he's becoming is going to be his hero. And it's always changing.
And when you say that, like the goals as well, like even if you don't hit the goals, like that is okay. That is okay because there's a time where people will set a goal and like even myself set a goal and I didn't hit it, and then that can put you on go down that rabbit hole because you think it's bad. It's not because it's the work ethic that you put in to get that goal. Like you could put a goal so high, work your butt off, and don't get it, but you changed as a person from the first day you said you were going to do it to the day that you hit the goal or didn't hit the goal.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was talking to my boy Ricky this morning. Ricardo, right? From
Pretty
Philly.
Ricky.
My man Pretty Ricky.
Pretty Ricky from Philly.
My man Pretty Ricky from Philly.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ricardo El Padrino. That's my son's godfather. And we were talking about how he was sharing some of the goals he had set. And some of his goals were very specific, like each week or each month I need to hit a certain amount in revenue. And then he had like an end goal. I'm like, well, what's the date for the end goal? And he's like, kind of like whenever it happens, like happens. And I was like, well, that's
never.
Yeah, I'm like, that's, well, and the example I gave him, I was like, yo, what if I told one of my students, I'm like, yo, here's what you need to do for this research paper. I gave him all the outlines, the criteria, and he's like, well, when's it due? I'm like, oh, you just get it done whenever you feel like.
This year, next year.
Yeah, this year, next year, whenever you feel like handing it in, just get it to me then. And I'm like, do you think this kid's ever gonna hand in this paper? Probably not, unless he's like a geek. You know what I'm saying? Right. Unless he's like super like has that motor and he enjoys writing papers, it's probably never going to get done.
Right.
And so then his response was kind of like, he was scared to set a certain date because of what you just said. Like if he doesn't hit it, it seems like he's flaky, or he's like, it feels like I failed. I'm like, well, you can always make adjustments and change the date. Like right. you have like these daily habits incorporated. So after 6 months or after a year or whatever, you'll see like, I'm going to hit this trajectory. All right. But maybe after a certain amount of time, you might realize, what I'm doing is not working. So I need to change things up.
Correct.
And then once you do that, then you can change the end date. And it's only flaky. And well, that sounds, I'm like, it's not flaky. Flaky is like, you know what? Like I don't feel like working out this week. So I'm going to push my 6-pack goal, a week in advance. So I took this week off. I'm like, that's flaky. But if I'm working out and busting my butt every day and eating healthy, and I realize, this thing's not working, there's no shame in changing that date.
No, and that's really good because I was always afraid of that as well, is to set a goal or a date, because if you don't hit it at that time, like you would, and that really goes back to what I was talking about, is treating yourself like a child. Like you wouldn't tell your child you're flaky.
Mm-hmm.
Like you wouldn't tell your child like, oh, you're flaky, you didn't get it done, you're flaky. Oh, you failed. Well, what did you do during the week? I was like, well, now we have to make those adjustments. You know what I mean? Like, so I tell my son, like, if you fail, you fail. But like, if I see you didn't put in effort, that's totally different.
That's completely different.
That's completely different. It's like, oh, I don't know how to do this. It's like, well, I saw you in a video game. If you didn't know how to do this, you didn't know how to do it then, but you did nothing at the time. So I would say treat yourself as you would treat your children. Hopefully, you're a good parent and do the right
Yeah,
thing
if
by
you're a
them.
good dad.
Yeah, if you're a good,
Yeah.
if you're a good parent. But like, if you do that, I think you can go a lot further, because like you wouldn't tell your son, your child, oh, you failed, you're flaky, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And I think that's where, and like that's what my coach said to me. I didn't hear it until like the other day. He's probably been preaching to me for a little bit. Like it takes a while for certain things to set, but like if you take care of yourself the right way, like you would treat other people, example like you gave, you would just go. I think you would go further, because we set ourselves back.
Yeah.
So where I'm telling myself is like, oh, I have this goal. Well, I don't think I can hit it on a date. So you really hold yourself back. You really hold yourself, just because you don't think you can hit that goal at that date, you're gonna hold yourself back.
Well, then that's a limiting belief that needs
That's
to. Why do you have that belief? Where's that coming from?
So like this is a really good topic.
Yeah.
Topic.
Yeah. So I just wanted something. I'd read The Power to Change by Craig Rochelle. He's a really well known pastor. He's got like a mega church. He's got churches all over the country. He's phenomenal author. He's got a great podcast I listen to. And something he had said was like, seeing yourself in the future as a different person empowers you to make the decisions that will benefit that future self.
Correct.
And I thought, that was really cool. I like that it was like a little tiny chapter, and that's how I was introduced to this idea of your future self, right? But having like this idea of your future self helps you engage like in deliberate practices, right? Like I want to hit this goal, just like Ricky. Ricky has like an end goal to do whatever, but he didn't have the date on it. But he has those goals he's hitting every single day, and then after every single day he has that month set up. What's his goal for the end of the month? And by doing that, he's creating deliberate habits every single day. That's going to eventually lead to that end goal.
But he had a limiting belief on
setting the date. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there was probably a time where he had a limiting belief where he could hit his daily goals. So it was just progress going.
Yeah. Yeah. So something else I've read in that book was like when people have like that limiting belief, it's usually due to like some kind of trauma that they had. And I'm glad you keep going back to like the kid example, because it's kind of like if you failed the test, right? You failed your history test in high school, and your dad or your mom or a teacher, somebody could have said to you, you're such a loser. You're worthless. Like you can't even pass this test, right? As an impressionable mind, that you could adopt that, and now that becomes part of your identity.
Correct.
And because it's part of your identity, you start, well, I'm a loser, so I can't achieve this. I'm a loser, so I can't do this. And because now that's ingrained in who you are.
It is. Yeah. I definitely agree when it comes to stuff like that, where we let certain fears do the same exact thing for us.
Yeah. I had a good quote somewhere written down. My notes are all sloppy. But yeah, I don't know where it is, DJ. You can yeah, I gotta do a better job of keeping notes, man.
You're doing a great job.
Oh, thank you, bro. Yeah, I really don't know what I just did with this. Yeah, so either way, I'm gonna go on. Maybe I'll come back to it. So, I was reading another article by this Stanford professor named Carol Dweck. I don't know how to pronounce the name. And something she had said was, well, actually, I'm sorry, she's a Harvard professor, but something she had said is like easy for us to look back 10 years and see how we've changed in the past 10 years. We can see our growth and our progress in the past 10 years, but for whatever reason, a lot of people have a hard time seeing themselves 10 years in the future, thinking they just think, oh, well, I'm going to be the same in 10 years as I am now. So they kind of like are not able to see themselves as a future self. And she called it the end of history illusion. And I thought that really stuck out to me. And that's when she started talking about the limiting beliefs and how those kind of need to be uprooted. You need to create, your new identity.
What does that actually mean? Did you look into it?
What?
End of history illusion.
Well, the end of history is like how you think in the future, even though you know in the past you've changed, you think 10 years in the future, I can't change. Like I'm going to be stuck or I am who I am, kind of. So it's like, even though you know you've changed, you don't think you can do it again, kind of. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So what do you think about that?
No matter what, you're changing, whether you're going forward or going backwards, like you are changing. And I think if you do take the time out to look back, you'll see that you made the adjustments. And I really think looking back like is great because it could help with the future. But I think like reading just those first couple of chapters, I think I learned more of just like where I really wanted to be. Because I felt like I knew where I wanted to be. And putting myself in that position now, I never really did. And then like it allowed me to feel a little bit different. I was like, wow. And then I was like, all right, now you want to be here and you're right here based off what you're doing. Will you get there? And I'm like, no. Well, eventually, but I didn't put a timetable on it. So like that's why I went with like the 6 months. I was like, oh wow. And then when I put it in the 6 months, I actually got like, like, oh no, like I'm not gonna be there. And I felt it. I was like, I'm not gonna be there in 6 months if I continue being who I am right now. So I was like, all right, I really have to make that change, make the adjustment to hit the goal that I want to hit. And like if we could do that on like a daily, a weekly basis. And I think what Ricky does on I don't know if he has daily goals or weekly goals, but I think that's really good because they always say all you have to do is be 1% better than yesterday.
That's it.
Be 1% better than yesterday. Oh, and another thing, I know this is a little bit off topic, but it's still kind of on topic. Like if you're trying to achieve a goal and then you saw someone else achieve a goal, don't compare yourself to that person. That was another thing that I put down myself because like people are just at different levels all the time. People are at different levels all the time. And I've seen people who've been doing what I'm doing in a short amount of time and they're doing better. And I compared to them, why can't I? And it actually set me back. It actually set me back. So I like Matthew McConaughey where he said, who's your future,
who's your hero?
Who's your hero? He was just dead set on him.
That's
he might see what other people are doing, but he didn't compare himself to them. He compared to where he wanted to be, at that time.
Yeah, and you know what? I know I shared it on my IG and Facebook. I don't know if you had a chance to listen to the speech. I delivered.
Not yet, no.
Thanks for the support.
Right.
But no, so that's kind of was like a big thing. I spoke about in the speech was like one of the main points is like we're all put here for a purpose and we're all individually made. We're all very, very unique and we all have our own giftings and our own passions. And it's our job to use those to fulfill a certain purpose that only we could do. Mm-hmm. Right. So if you're always trying to do what other people are doing or try to be like other people, that's cool. They did it, but that doesn't mean that's your path.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
And I know I love using this quote. I think it's been like a cornerstone for my life. I've probably quoted it like three other podcasts. But when Jay-Z said, I will not lose because even in defeat, there's a valuable lesson learned, so that evens it up for me, right? So going back to the person who failed like that test, right? They might adopt that, I'm an idiot or I'm dumb, whatever. But somebody who has a growth mindset, they might look at that like, you know what? This happened, it sucks, but I learned this from this experience. Mm-hmm. I learned that I need to do things a little bit differently. And now became a learning experience. So now they're using like that perceived setback, right, to set themselves up to hit that goal of becoming who they want to be.
And what's so funny is that I gave you the example where I saw people who started after me and they're doing better than me. And of course, that's what you notice. But then there are people that I started after and I did better, and I
Hmm.
did better than them, and still doing it. And they came out the gates like shot out, but I outworked them. So, but like that just shows you where we have selectiveness. We're gonna look for like the negative aspect.
Always.
Yeah, the negative aspect. So where I could have rose myself up, I put myself down instead of saying, well, if you want to compare, like you're doing better than other people as well. No. But these people here, it's like
Hmm.
that's just what we do.
Yeah,
So
we're programmed. I don't know why we're programmed to do that, DJ, and just to be like a little vulnerable. This past week, I was really like kind of blown away. Pause by like I probably had like 7 or 8 different people reach out to me privately or some and text message or DM me privately talking about this podcast in particular. How well we're doing. Like, yo, you guys really have good chemistry. I love listening to you guys. They commented on my personal videos, like, yo, I'm really proud of you for doing your thing, and
right,
I'm learning a lot. I love, keep up the motivational Mondays, keep up the free Fridays, keep sharing the podcast. So this past week, I had a lot of positive feedback, and then I had one friend who, um, he kind of, he made like a joke, he made a joke about it, and then I responded, kind of like, he's talking, so I talk like little trash back. I'm like, you know, I don't want to say who it is. Like, I'm trying to think of a way to say it to not reveal who it
yeah,
is,
yeah,
but he had made a comment about the speech, right? And I'm like, well, that's funny you said that because those exact comments I told my students to ignore when they're doing their thing, right? And like, I guess like I meant it to be funny. Like, I'm like, yo, you're talking trash on, like, so it wasn't like, but he took it, as like I think I'm better than him, or I'm taking, I was too sensitive to the trash, and really like I had no problems with what he said originally, but then after that, he kind of like went in into like a tirade. He's like, "Oh, it's mad cringy," this and that, and for whatever reason, like what he said
stuck with
stuck into my head instead of what those 8 or 9 other people had said to me.
right,
And then I'm like, why am I so fixated on what this one person said when I got so many other comments,
right.
and we got so much other feedback.
No, it's very common. Like there was a speaker, what he was telling us, like when you go to present, don't focus on how many people didn't show up. Don't focus on how many people roll their eyes. Don't focus on how many people made a stupid comment. Just focus on the people that showed up for you. Focus on the
Yeah,
people that supported you. Focus on the people that questioned you. That had good questions for you. But for some reason, we do just focus on the negative.
yeah, yeah. So I think something I want to let everybody know is a part of this process is asking, who do you want to become? Who is this person you want to become? Right. And then once you have an idea of it, start like listing like characteristics of this person. Start listing habits of this person. Right. And then once you kind of, figure out these characteristics and, these habits, start doing them now.
Yeah, like Jimmy, like start doing them now. Start doing them as like the finished product as well. So so that you're going hard for it. Start doing it as if like maybe like I said a 6 month goal, but really it should be done in 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
Like start going for that. We just need to push ourselves. We need to push ourselves a little bit more every day, and we're gonna hit obstacles. We're gonna hit the naysayers. We're gonna hit the I don't want to wake up today. That's natural. Like that legitimately like is natural. Like when I was telling you, well, I didn't tell you, but like I posted like me running, and like I told myself like 1 mile. That's really what I can do. No one else told me that. I never even tested myself that I hit 1 mile, but that's what I told myself. Every time I came up to the mile, like I stopped. And like my mind told me it's like 0.991, and I just
That's
stopped. And then I made a video saying that we need to push ourselves. I'm like, who am I to say that? All right, cool. Let's go 2 miles. And then I came up to the mile, and it's at 0.99. And then when you haven't ran for a while and you start running, your body gets really itchy.
mm-hmm. Oh, I hate that itchy feeling, man.
That my body was itching like crazy. And I was like, oh my god, why this happening is because I'm running. And I was like, all right, no, I can't. And so I'm running. It's like if you saw me running in the
Like a
neighborhood,
crackhead,
yeah,
like, oh, like itching.
you saw me doing this, and I was like, I can't stop. And then years back, probably like 10 years, I tore my Achilles tendon. That started to pulsate. I started to feel it. I was like, oh my God, all right, this is it. And then I thought to myself, I was like, these are the obstacles that are coming in the way, no matter what you're trying to do, no matter what you're trying to do. And then I was getting tired. And then before I was running light, and then my feet started to get heavy. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm getting so much more tired. My feet are heavier. My breathing was, I had my headphones in so I could hear my heartbeat getting heavier and heavier. But I did it. I ran over two, just ran over just a little bit over 2 miles. And everything kept getting in the way. Everything kept getting in the way. Everything kept getting in the way. But it was my choice to stop, or it was my choice to go. So whatever goal you have, just because you said it, it's not going to be easy. It's not meant to be easy. Like
Yeah.
you weren't meant to have 10 out of 10 people to tell you did what you have to have that 9 out of 10. That 9 out of 10 was a test. Oh, 9 out of 10 is like, all right, I have another opportunity to come up, but that one guy told me, nah, I can't do that opportunity because that one person told me that. That legitimately has to happen. And so when I give the example of these people were doing better than me, the people that I didn't do better than, the people that I outlasted, they hit the obstacles and stopped. That's what happens to a lot of people is that like you set a goal, you don't hit the goal, you're not coming close to the goal. It wasn't meant to be, so let me just stop.
Yeah.
And it's just not right. Like you have to have that. There's nothing perfect. Even the richest people in the world, or whatever you want, have their issues. Like when you hear people who committed suicide and they're wealthy actors, why? How could they commit suicide? They're making so much money. They're doing what they want to do. They have 2 kids. There's still issues. There's still obstacles. Everyone has that.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. It's something, I talked about, we had a really good conversation with my students this year, and I could see how my mind had flipped, right? Because my students were like, if I had $10 million, like I'd be happy. I'm not happy now, but if I had $10 million, I'd be happy. And I'm like, if you're not happy now, $10 million isn't going to make you happy. It might solve some of your problems. It might, I'm trying to think. So I had read an article about it too, and it was like for the first like 3 to 6 months, you're gonna feel happier, and you're gonna feel like your life is more fulfilling. But after like that short time period, if you're not happy now, you're not gonna be happy then.
Correct.
And then I listen. We have celebrities like these people are millionaires. They don't have really like any or ever have to worry about money again in their lives. Like
But they're not happy.
but they're not happy, and that's why they're committing suicide. They're overdosing on
Mm-hmm.
drugs. So money isn't going to. If you're not happy without money, you're not going to be happy with money,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
And they didn't believe me. They made fun of me. They're like, "Oh, Mr. D's tripping. He's wilding." I'm like, "Oh, it's like this." Harvard made a study about this. What do you think? Harvard's like lying to us, man? But
No, but that is just common sense. Like, how many times have you heard NBA players are working a job now? It's because it's the growth process. So they grew to become an NBA player, to be really great at the NBA player. But then you have to grow in other aspects of your life. Did you grow into being a person that could say no? Did you grow into being a person that could money manage? Did you go into to be a person that let me take care of myself mentally, so when I get the money, I'm not spending money to make me happy?
yeah,
So we're always we always have to grow in every different sector, in every different aspect of our household. Like you could have you'll see on Facebook right now, we'll see all these people. You think we're happy? They're not getting a divorce on a low low because they didn't take care. You have to be happy by yourself before you can be happy doing other things.
yeah,
So if you don't love yourself, that person can't make you love you, help with the love. The kids can't help you with the love. The new raise of the job can't help you love. Like someone can give you, $10 million, like you said, you're going to go through that $10 million in a couple of years because you were just spending money to make you happy. It's just like a magnifying glass that the money would be.
yep, absolutely. Yeah, I love that, DJ.
My fault. I got a little into
Yeah,
this
no,
topic.
I just want to circle back a little bit because something you had said about like the mile, right? You ran a mile.
I actually did just over 3 miles the other day.
My man DJ.
Right? 3 miles.
Clap it up.
Yeah, and I was like, all right, it was 3.26 miles in 40 minutes. And I was like, all right, I made a live one too. I was hurt. Like, I was really hurting. Like, my stomach was hurting and everything. And I was like, but I only did it because I fought my mind. I was in control.
Yeah.
My mind was like, yo, legs hurt a little bit. The tendon hurt a little bit. All right, let's get the rain going. Like, it was just like, nah.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's something. Anytime we do something like new or different, our mind always kind of pushes us back to what's comfortable. You know what I'm saying? So you running is not comfortable for your brain, so it's going to come up with all these excuses and all these reasons to shut it down, right? And in the past, I definitely was listening. I'm like, oh, word, you're right, brain. I'm not doing this. This is dumb. You know what I'm saying? Then I got to it, and then once I realized, my brain, just wants me to. It really wants you to stay the same. Like it craves comfortability. It craves stability. So when you start doing things differently, you become uncomfortable, and then you start having these thoughts pop into your head, like, why are you doing this?
Right.
You know. And what I was gonna say is, like, even you setting that goal of 1 mile, that's cool, but that's like arbitrary. You know what I'm saying? Like it's an arbitrary goal. Like, I'm just gonna do a mile, but why? Like, are you capable of doing a mile and a half? Are you capable of doing
I told myself no.
But then you realized I can do more than this.
Yeah. It's like, who said I could do? I didn't even try yet. Like, how do I know I can't do more? I was like, where did that come from?
So I'm going to give you, and I don't know if in my head it makes a connection. My mind kind of like zigzags sometimes, DJ, so hopefully you see what I'm saying. But I remember at a certain point, like, I used to buy, once a week, I used to buy a lotto ticket, right? And it was a Win for Life lotto ticket. And it wasn't like the $1 million ones, it was like $1,000 a week, right? It was $1,000 a week, it's only $4,000 a month, right? 4 times 12, it's like $48,000,
right.
Which is nice. Like, 48,000 is like, if you're gonna give me $48,000 extra month, extra year like that, that's a pretty cool number, right?
Yeah.
But then I asked myself, why? Well, why am I buying it? Like, you know what I'm saying? So it was almost like I was so comfortable, like.
I don't deserve $1 million.
Why? Yeah. Why am I? If I'm spending the same amount of monny, why not? Try that's going to give me $1 million a week or $1 million a month.
I don't feel like I deserve it.
I didn't feel like I deserved it. So even in terms of lotto, which is completely by chance, I still had a limiting belief that I wasn't worth more than just this. Right. You know what I'm saying? And then once I realized that, I'm going to go, even the way I play lotto is a limiting belief, right? Because to me, like, I could realistically win $1,000 a week. You know what I'm saying? To me, that seemed real, but $1 million? Nah, G. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's
for me. I don't deserve it.
I don't deserve it.
That's great that you bring it up, because, like, it goes, like, with everything, man. Like, it just goes, like, even though we're just a little bit more conscious of it, there's still more limiting beliefs. I don't even know if you could ever get rid of it all, but, like, there's still more limiting beliefs. Like, the way you are, like, I was complimenting him the other day about his podcast. Like, seeing him on the podcast compared to when we sat at Sage dinner, totally different person.
My man, DJ, my boy,
totally different person. And it was like, yo, this guy is crazy. You know what I mean? Like, it's amazing to where when we were speaking, he's like, nah, I mean, I want it. Nah, I'm not. I don't think. And I was like, yo, let's go ahead.
Take another shot of tequila, right? Yeah.
But then, just like, if it's something that you want to do, like, just go ahead and do it. Like, put a date on it. But if you don't hit the date, then extend the date. But legitimately go for the date, though. Like, legitimately go for the date. Don't just say, all right, I'll back it up because I can. But, like, really, really go for it, because there's pain and no matter what we do. There's pain in me trying to go for a goal and missing it, but keep going for it. And there's pain in me for not even trying to go for that goal. And 5 years saying, like, I should have just stuck with it. Because I have so much regret because I didn't stick with something. Where would I have been right now? So the goal I'm trying to hit in 5 years from now, I could have been here today if I knew what I knew now and just stuck with it 5 years. And not just know that, just like, you're meant to not, things are meant not to be perfect. Like, you're meant to mess up. You're meant to learn from it. You're meant to someone to tell you no. Meant to someone to curse you out. Meant to have your best friends to tell you no. Like, it's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
It's supposed to happen. And if I would have just stuck with it and knew that was also supposed to happen, oh, this person's not supporting me. That's supposed to happen. Keep going. Right here.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you said, because something I don't know, maybe I don't know where these thoughts come from. You know what I'm saying? But I thought like if so we'll use jogging for example, right? So jogging is painful, right? I'm just piggybacking off what you said. Like no matter what, you're gonna be in pain, right?
Right.
So you go out jogging, and jogging can be painful, or you could choose the pain of remaining the same. And then
Mhm.
5 years from now, when you have high blood pressure or diabetes
It's painful.
or whatever, that's gonna be painful too. You know, looking in the mirror and like hating the way you look because you know you're overweight or whatever. You got the sick dad bod now. You know what I'm saying? Like
I got that.
you know you can't go out and play basketball, or you can go play basketball, but you're getting smoked by your kids because you
Right.
can't keep up with them. Which pain are you going to choose? Are you going to choose the pain that's going to lead to a better future, or are you going to choose the pain like that's going to lead to like an early demise? You know what I'm saying?
You could get out of bed and be sore, or you can and just sit there, or you can get out of bed and be sore from jogging. You're still sore no matter what, but
Absolutely.
you're just a little bit more healthier. A
Yeah.
little bit more healthier now. And like I almost fell. I almost fell. My shoelace came up. I don't know. My shoelaces never come undone. Shoelaces never come undone, and it came undone. And I remember a lady pointed to my shoelaces as well, and I was like, "Yo, I gotta tie my shoelaces." I was like, "Nah." I tripped over them. I almost fell. I was like, "I can't stop to tie my shoelaces," because like I was like, "When was the last time these shoelaces came undone?" So things are just going to happen on purpose. So I ran like a little bit wider so I wouldn't go over the shoelaces, but I was like, I kept going. And me not tying my shoelaces, I was so proud. Like it was just tie your shoelaces, bro. Like it told me like just tie your shoelaces, stop, and just tie your shoelaces real quick.
Yeah.
Like gee, just tie the shoelaces.
Tie those shoelaces, bro.
But then I was like, nah. I was like, I'm not gonna stop.
I wonder how you feel though if you tripped and bust your ass though.
Then I would have stopped by force. I was forced to stop. That means I didn't stop. Something else forced me to stop.
Yeah, and you know what? I understand the concept of what you're saying because when I used to train, I used to do Tough Mudders once a year. I did like six. I think I did 6 or 7 of them. Not to brag. You know what I'm saying? But
in 1 year or
no, hell no.
Oh,
Like
oh.
each year would come out. There'd be one in
Yeah.
Jersey, then they started doing whatever, But it was like a 12 miles through like obstacle courses in the cold. It's muddy and rainy. You come out, you look like you've been through it. You know what I'm saying? So training for that was never really fun. And I used to love working out. I used to love playing basketball, but just running.
Yeah.
Running sucks. At least so either way, I had that mindset. Your running sucks.
Run for fun sucks.
So now running definitely sucks because I'm making it worse in my head. But then so my shoe would be untied, right? So I could be 6 miles into a 10-mile run, and I'm gonna stop to tie my shoe. But now, okay, now let me just take an extra. I'm ready. I already stopped. Let me take an extra 30 seconds, and then 30 seconds goes by. Like I think I'm gonna walk for a little. You know what I'm saying? Right. So then you gradually start like self-sabotaging almost. So
I go back.
I love the fact that you didn't stop to tie your shoe.
I wasn't. My shoelace came done at it was like 2.12 miles because I looked at it and I was like, oh, I see. Because I kept every time something was bothering me, I looked at it. I was like, oh, I see what we're doing. I see what we're doing. I see what we're doing. And like that's us putting it out there. Like we put that. My mind was putting it out there. He's like, yo, he's not listening to me. He's not listening to me. A car come. Yo, he's not listening to me. Yo, all right, these shoelaces come. Yo, make it rain. Make it. It poured, and I was like, all right, I should just go home. Nah, let me just keep running.
Yeah.
And in my tendon, I felt it. It was like pulsing. I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, nah, I'll be all right. I'll be all right. Don't even think about it. Don't even put it out there. And then my legs were getting tighter, and my stomach. I was like, all right, I'll be all right. And then I was like, nah. And then just did it. Then it was 2.12. Then I had 2.37. And then the last one I did over 3. And it's like, I don't say this like to brag because I know there's people that do a lot more and it doesn't matter. I'm comparing myself to myself.
That's it.
Comparing myself to myself. I'm not breaking any miles of it. Like it legitimately doesn't matter. And I feel great about myself just the fact that I did it. Like I am bragging about it. I'm not even gonna lie. I put it out on Facebook. I told my wife, telling you it again. I was like, I'm so proud of myself for doing that.
Yeah.
3 miles straight running. Go ahead.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I think like you versus you or me versus me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm speaking to you. Me versus me
No, I get
is
it.
like the best mentality because, number one, comparison is a killer of joy, right? Like you could feel, I ran 2 miles, then you look at,
Someone else.
someone else. Oh, he did 5 today. Like,
Yeah.
damn, I only did 2, and then now you're embarrassed
Right.
that you only did 2. So instead of bragging about it, you're embarrassed. Like I didn't do 5.
Right.
But for you, 2 miles is a win, right?
Big win.
God willing, a month from now, like 3 or 4 miles, that's gonna be.
I already did 3 of them. It's gonna be.
Oh, so
5.
4 miles, 5 miles. So
5.
whatever it is, like you're gonna keep setting goal, and you're gonna keep winning on your schedule, not comparing yourself
Correct.
to everybody else, right?
5 miles by September 15th. 5 miles.
Yeah. I got just to give you this, like a funny, you how it's always comparing yourself is a killer, right? So I was with one of my friends and we were working out, and he was kind of like, you could tell like he was like he's usually like a happy or pretty happy guy, and I could tell like he was in a little bit of a bad mood, and I'm like, what's going on? And he had said, I lost $30,000 in stocks, whatever. So I'm like, tell me more about this, And first of all, I'm like, the fact that you lost 30,000, like how much do you. So then my mind started going like different places, right? So it turns out like he didn't really lose 30,000.
He was up and it came back down.
He was up, so he was thinking about selling the night before. If he would have sold the night before,
he would have been up.
He could have sold it for 60. Instead, he waited for the morning, thinking it's going to go up. He's trying to make a couple extra bucks, and
only sold it.
And then it dropped like 50% drop overnight. So he only made 30. He only made 30,000. You know what I'm saying? But in his mind, he lost 30,000. Right? So I think my taxes had just hit at the time, right? And I was hyped because I had just got my LLC started. So it was the first time I had like business deductions, and I got back more money than I had ever gotten back in my life from taxes, right? But it wasn't 30. You know what I'm saying? It was like a fresh. So in my mind, I'm thinking good. Like I got some money in my pocket. I'm planning where I'm going to invest or what I'm going to vacation, stuff like this. And then I looked at him like, damn, like, and then so in the past, like I would have let that kill me. I would have been like, damn, this money's nothing. You know what I'm saying? But then I had that, you know what? Good for my boy. Well, bad for my boy, depending on how he wants to look at it. You know what I'm saying? Like either way, I think it's an envious spot to be in. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not gonna compare myself, my couple G's and compare that to his windfall. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just gonna make me feel bad. Right. And then this is a happy moment for me. This is a good moment for me.
Yeah. All right, this is almost an hour. We're gonna have to split this up.
Yeah, this is a really long episode.
I think if I don't stop us, I think we're gonna keep going.
Yeah, and so just to end, right?
Recap.
Yeah. Well, the recap, right? So we want to always be thinking about who we want to be, who we want to turn into, and start acting like that, right? So just really quickly, a friend said he wants to be a millionaire, right? So what he started doing was he started researching $1 Million Habits, and he found out like 90% of millionaires get up, before 5 a.m. So he started waking up at 4:50 every morning to journal or read and go to the gym, and like that habit alone isn't going to just I'm waking up at 4:50, so I'm going to be a millionaire now, but it's setting him up, where I'm adopting this habit. He learned, somewhere I think millionaires read like a certain amount of books a year.
Yeah.
So he's like, I'm going to start reading this amount of books every year. So doing those things by himself are not going to make him, a millionaire, but he's setting himself up to already adopt these habits. So that way he could kind of become that millionaire. He's acting like a millionaire without having $1 million in his bank account, right? So always act who you want to become. And number two, in order to kind of do that, you have to know who you want to become. So the challenge I want to give to everybody is, like I said earlier in the podcast, think about this person, write down their characteristics, write down what they do, write down the habits, and start checking those boxes and start doing them, ASAP today. After after we hit disconnect or whatever we hit.
Yeah, because just even him not being a millionaire, he's actually programmed himself to become that person who was a millionaire. That goes back to like what I was saying, like you can get $10 million and spend it right away, but if you become that person, put in that work ethic, you become a millionaire and you won't just lose that.
Absolutely.
All right, everybody. I don't think this is gonna turn off this way, but
all right, guys. Thank you, everybody.